good day, my friends. I thought today we would go look around Hollywood forever. I'm sure a lot of new faces have unfortunately passed away, and we're gonna see if we can visit them. Daze with Jordan the Lion begins now. This is great. So they always have a sign that says do not post anything on the outside of the crypts. And when I came and did a vlog on Renee Adori, I had had this picture for a very long time, probably since 2003. And I decided to post it up here because there was nothing else to remember her for a lot of people who maybe didn't ever know who she was and her career. So I put it up there and people kept commenting that they would come visit, and then it was still here, and now I see someone else has added another beautiful picture, so it's really cool. Oh wow, I noticed over here John Dixon Paragon, who played Zombie in Pee-wee's Playhouse. That's a really amazing crypt. Wow, that's great. I'm noticing on some of them they have like little codes that you can scan. It says find out more about me. That's a really good one. Wow. Mecca lecca hi, mecca hiney ho. And there's rocker Davy Bales. Over here on the end is David Lander, Squiggy from Lenny and Squiggy. He was a fantastic character actor, and I actually worked with his daughter Natalie, and she was really nice and said her dad was great. Let's see, he's got a Pittsburgh Pirates hat in there. He's got the 1979 Pittsburgh Pirates World Series in there. Never goodbye, always hello. And he's got a little snow globe in there. That's awesome. Pirates, Three Rivers it looks like. No, maybe before Three Rivers. Down here on this corner is comedian Judy Tenuta, the love goddess. Let's see, she's got her book in there. There's her urn. Attention butt pirates and libertarians. Nice. Very funny woman. One of a kind for sure. Here are the graves of the Talmadges, the acting family. There's Natalie Talmadge right there. Constance Talmadge right there. And then Norma Talmadge right there. Buster Keaton was once in that family, but it didn't work out very well for him. They bullied him ruthlessly, apparently. Here's the grave of Dick Dale, inventor of surf guitar. Actually, he and Leo Fender invented guitars, amps, all kinds of technology together. Known for Miserlou, that song Miserlou. From Pulp Fiction, they used it. Yeah, the guy was amazing. Here's the grave of George D. Wallace, who apparently played a sci-fi hero in movies. You can see there's his credits right there. Credit card, and then pretty cool. We're inside the Judy Garland Pavilion. A lot of the cemetery is closed off today. I don't know if they're filming or what. They have security guards and road cones over blocking a lot of the ones that most people would want to see. But here's Judy. I'll come to you smiling through the years. Pretty cool, since I just got to go and stand on the soundstage where they recorded the Yellow Brick Road and Munchkin Land scenes. And I got to go to the recording department where she sang and recorded Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Here's a giant headstone bigger than everyone else's of Estelle Getty. You gotta know her, Sophia Petrillo from the Golden Girls. Stop or my mom will shoot. Thank you for being a friend, everything says, even the rocks and everything people leave here. And of course, lipstick prints. Great actress. The grave of Mel Blanc. That's all, folks. Man of 1,000 voices. That's right, you name it, he did it. Bugs Bunny, Yosemite Sam, Barney Rubble. Did them all. It's great, I got to interview his son, Noel, who took over doing all the voices when Mel no longer could. And he said that Mel loved to work. He was a workaholic. He couldn't work enough. He said he wouldn't even eat unless he was eating for the character. Like if it was Bugs Bunny, he'd eat a carrot, but he'd be so busy recording all over town all day that he was, you know, he was that dedicated to it. Then he had an accident, like a car wreck on Dead Man's Curve. And even when he was laid up in bed and couldn't move, like a full body cast, they brought in the recording equipment so they could record him for the Flintstones, and the actors of the Flintstones would come and sit around his bedside while they recorded it. How cool is that? What a legend. And then buried under this tree here is Best Actor Oscar winner Paul Mooney and his wife. That was a tough one to find. It was really buried. I had to remove all the dirt to even read it. Here's the grave of Fay Wray from King Kong. And then right here is Mila Nurmi, Vampira. Some say the original Elvira. She was in the Ed Wood movies as Bela Lugosi's wife, zombie bride wife. But she used to host showing horror movies on TV, dressing in all black and everything. Mila Nurmi, Vampira, Hollywood legend. That big tall one is Griffith Jenkins Griffith. And he was the man who donated Griffith Park to Hollywood, Los Angeles. So without him, no Griffith Observatory and all that stuff. Here's the grave of Dee Dee Ramone. Douglas Colvin, one of the great songwriters, the bass player of the Ramones, says, "Okay, I gotta go now." I did a full video on Dee Dee, his life, his death and everything. Someone that was in his band. Also, Johnny Ramone is just across the water over here. But over here is also rock star Bianca Blowtorch. That's her grave. She was in a band called Betty Blowtorch. It says, "Born to love, live to rock." She was recovering alcoholic and accepted a ride from someone who was drunk, and they got into a car accident and she died. This is the grave of Cecil B DeMille. On the right is Cecil B DeMille, the man who directed and brought us all of the big movies of the day. King of Kings, the 10 Commandments, just tons and tons of stuff. Innovator, pioneer, came out here when there was nothing. Made the Squaw Man. He was a tough cookie, but man, he created some beautiful art. This town would be nothing without Cecil B DeMille, and they know it. There's a lot of people buried over here. Let's start with Burt Reynolds. Last time I was here, he didn't have his permanent headstone that he has now, which is a bust of himself. I think that was not his choice, but that's what it is. On our way over to him, though, we have to stop and visit the cenotaph for Jane Mansfield. She's actually buried in Pennsylvania, where she was from, but they do have a beautiful headstone for her here. And then right over here is Burt. There he is. Looks good, but knowing that's not what he wanted kind of bums me out. Actually, I take that back. The face doesn't look very good. That doesn't look like Burt, really. Maybe, kinda, I don't know. Not the Burt Reynolds that I think of, anyway. Doesn't look like him. They got a nice photo of him down at the bottom, though. Someone's left. That's more the Burt I think of. Even though the name on the outside of this crypt is not the name that we know her by, this is the crypt of Marion Davies. Great actress and love interest of William Randolph Hearst. Says Duras, that is her crypt. And then this is the crypt of Tyrone Power, famed actor in the 50s. This is the grave of Harry Cohn. Another monstrous name in film history. Studio producer, studio head. This one right here is actor Anton Yelchin. Kind of surprised to not see his parents out here. They're almost always out here sitting in chairs by the grave, watching over the grave. He was in Star Trek. He had a horrible accident. He got out of his car and it rolled forward and pinned him into his garage door, if I'm not mistaken. I've been looking for a little bit. I'm like, where's Valerie Harper? I know I came out here before, or like the day her headstone was laid or the day after. I couldn't find her. This is her. This monstrous like garden here is the great Valerie Harper. Beautiful. Rhoda, just, oh man. I used to watch all of her shows. She was so lovable. Sounds like such a nice person too. She never in a million years thought she was gonna get Rhoda and be like the star of a show like that, but she was. And then look, they even have this there. It says very much remembered. This interesting grave right here of the guy climbing is actually Ridley Scott. I think somewhere on there it says Scott, but... And he's actually right in front of Chris Cornell, right there. There is Chris Cornell from Soundgarden and all his solo records. Untimely Death, Voice of a Generation type. Sorely missed. Very sorely missed. And I believe it was, they had his funeral and everything here like right behind us. And like a year later, Chester Bennington, who was a fan of his and a friend, ended up doing the same thing on his anniversary. And actually right here is where they had Chris Cornell's memorial, right here in front of, this is Douglas Fairbanks' grave and Douglas Fairbanks Jr. That whole fountain and everything. And then their crypt is right up there with a bust of Douglas Sr. They're also right over here by a cenotaph for Hattie McDaniel, who's buried in kind of a, in my opinion, kind of a dangerous area. I had a gun pulled on me when I was down there looking around in that cemetery. Not in the cemetery, but outside of it. Yeah, they offered to move her here and the family didn't want to, so they gave her an honorary, because I think this is where they said she wanted to be buried, but at the time African Americans weren't allowed to be buried in here, I guess. Here we have Johnny Ramone. Johnny Ramone of the Ramones, the guitar player. Sometimes very hard to get along with, people say. He was an avid baseball fan. He used to write all of his favorite baseball players when he was young and ask for their autograph, ask them questions, and they would write back and answer his questions and stuff. And they did an exhibit at the Grammy Museum of all that stuff. I did vlog it and showed all that stuff, but I just thought that was kind of a cool side to his personality. He was like a lifelong Brooklyn Dodger fan and apparently Yankee fan too. And at least someone left a shot glass here, the Yankees, but I know he collected a lot of Brooklyn Dodger stuff. If a man can tell if he's been successful in his life by having great friends, then I've been very successful. Johnny Ramone. That's an awesome one. Right here we have Mickey Rooney. That one I've seen before. Probably nobody bigger than him as far as child actors during his day. In those movies with Judy, Garland, just major star. And then over here, this is a new one. I not been here since she was laid to rest. Anne Heche. That was sad. Speeding through the streets and crashing into a house. So that was a rough way to go. There's definitely something going on there, but rest in peace, Anne. Very rarely do they make a very good, in my opinion, remake of something, and I remember when they made Psycho with her in it, it was really good, I thought. That was very good. Now let's go see Valentino. Here is Rudolph Valentino. I don't know if they still do it, but every year on the anniversary of his death, they would always have a celebration here, like a memorial for him. True Hollywood royalty. Then here we have the final resting place of David White, who played Larry Tate on Bewitched. That one was hard to miss. I'm like, wow. He's buried here with his son. Stella Stevens is in this one on the right, and then Bob Kulick, guitar player for Meatloaf, and Kiss. And there you can see two of Bob's guitar picks, and also the necklace that he always wore. And he's wearing it in this photo I'm going to show you. Stella Stevens. Stella was in The Nutty Professor. She was in The Poseidon Adventure. She was also the star with Dean Martin in Secret to My Success. She had a long career and unfortunately passed away of Alzheimer's. Here they have some photos of Peter Lorre. I just have to remember which one of these that he is in, because I remember it was one of the smaller ones and I'm not seeing it right off the top. Oh, here it is. So from the photos, it's right down here. The great actor, Peter Lorre. I loved him in those movies with Vincent Price. All those old AIP pictures, those were so funny. That's when he was, you know, he was getting heavy and everything. But I remember Vincent Price had a funny story that they went to Bela Lugosi's funeral. And Peter Lorre was standing next to him looking down. He said, "Do you think we should drive a stake in his heart to make sure?" Sad story though is that he and his wife are going to get a divorce. And the day that they were supposed to meet at the court for the divorce, he never showed up because he had passed away in his bed in his apartment. Pretty sad way to go. I'm running out of time. They're getting ready to close this. Over here we have a couple of people on this wall. Holly Woodlawn from the Andy Warhol stuff, and in the Walk on the Wild Side song, memorialized in that song. Then there's also Larry Drake was Dr. Giggles. And I'm confused because Don Adams used to be over here, Maxwell Smart, and I don't see his headstone anymore. So they had one that was like a bust of him. They removed that, and they put another one. They must have removed that as well for some reason. I don't get it. Here's the memorial for, well, it's dedicated in the memory of Toto from Wizard of Oz. After the death of Toto, originally named Terry, 1945 owner and trainer Carl Spitz buried the Cane Terrier on his ranch in Studio City. The 1958 construction of the Ventura Freeway destroyed his final resting place. Here's the grave of Darren McGavin. He was the father on Christmas Story. The cussing father. Did a lot of movies. Well, my friends, I hope you enjoyed our little trip to Hollywood Forever today. We are going to call it a day. I couldn't see everybody, but I tried to show you as many as I could with the time that I had and the place I was allowed to go. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Have a great night from Hollywood, California. Goodbye.